you are, Ghoulies are back once again on Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theatre Milwaukee. And, of course, I'm joined by Lilith Lovecraft. Always great to have you here.
Always great to be here.
And this is a special presentation, a special month. It's a Vincent Price month, and we're going to try to get into some of those Vincent Price flicks that are a little bit odd, but you could say a lot of them are odd.
Well, yeah,
always giving an over top performance, but in tonight's film, he's not quite like the friendly Vincent Price uncle.
No.
He's kind of pretty demonic. I have a very demonic record of his too, by the way.
Yeah?
Yes, and they've often questioned how deep into subject matter he was. There's a lot of speculation on Vincent Price.
That's some interesting stuff.
Yeah, what have you heard?
I haven't heard very much, honestly, but now I want to go home and research. I'm very interested.
Well, Vincent Price was once to have been quoted saying that a man who limits his interests limits his life.
I feel that Vincent Price was a person that probably explored a lot of different things.
Yes, he did.
Well, obviously, yes, but I mean a lot of different as far as the spiritual element of things and the mythology.
Well, I'm sure he did enough research to.
Well, yes.
To do his films, and he was so articulate. I wonder how long it took him to memorize a script. I have a feeling it was just like nothing.
Yeah, I feel like he probably read it once and was like, "I got this."
Right. I think the Theater of Blood is a good one of his too,
yes,
where he's doing
I love
Shakespeare.
That one. Yes.
That was supposed to be the third Fives movies, but they changed it last minute. And I haven't heard anything else about this Fives movie that's supposed to be coming out with.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that.
What's his name?
Wasn't it? I heard it was Johnny Depp for. It wasn't.
No, it was Johnny Depp, and everybody flipped out and went boo. But no, it's. Is
it Malcolm?
Yes, Malcolm McDowell. Yes, so that'd be interesting to see.
Yes.
Yeah, that very, very interesting to see if they can pull that
off. I love
off.
him and everything. So.
I mean, did you see the Elvira movie? They have that sort of send up for the old Vincent Price thing.
Yeah.
She did a good job with that. She was nice at Days of the Dead.
She was very nice. I was surprised, actually, to be completely honest. I thought she'd be a little bit more uppity. Being Elvira, I mean, you kind of get the right to be a little bit snobby.
She's at Days of the Dead in Atlanta, and she's at Horror Hound in March too.
Yeah.
So she's getting out there and doing it.
But she seemed to actually be enjoying it, which
I don't know why you wouldn't. I mean,
I know, but she's kind of hit a point where she doesn't do it as much anymore. The whole Elvira thing. So
she was appearing just as Cassandra
for such a long time.
Yeah.
So it's good to see her back in costume and enjoying it.
They did a great homage with her movie Haunted Hills, and they kind of split the two characters where there was she had two Vincent Price kind of characters in there.
Yeah.
They did a pretty good job of about everything except lighting her. I felt sorry for her actually because it's her movie, and I'm thinking she could have hired me for cheap too. I could have did a much better job.
And you see the lighting, and then you meet her in person, and it's like you look so much better.
Right, yeah, look, I mean, it's like the kind of lighting they want to throw on Sid Haig, not on Elvira.
Exactly.
What does that have to do with Vincent Price? It's all connected. The universe.
It's a family.
Uh-huh.
I like to
fibers. It's fibers. Remember? That's an inside joke that you'll be catching up. Spring is what's been slated though for a Killing Poe, some sort of distribution.
Yeah.
Now whether that's for theaters, Milwaukee would be a good target if they they're doing it as an independent, because they do that sort of thing up here in Milwaukee.
Oh,
and that, believe me, if you live in Milwaukee and you're taking something like that for granted, down in dismal Kenosha, you can't, you're lucky if you see anything.
Yeah, we get nothing.
No, the movie Ed Wood didn't play in Kenosha. Can you believe that? That one missed. And at first, it took a while for Shadow of the Vampire, too. William Dafoe, as a matter of fact, was another one I heard was going to play Dr. Fives. And he would have been, I think he could have been a good Dr. Fives.
He just creeps me out. And
well, that's the point.
I know, but it's a certain level of creepy that I can't handle. I've seen him in certain movies where I've seen too much of him, and it just creeps me out now, and I can't watch it.
Kind of like me and Leonardo DiCaprio.
You and Leonardo DiCaprio?
He creeps me out.
Oh, I love Leo.
You like him? I just want to punch him in the face.
I'm one of the Leo fangirls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
got it. Well, there's plenty out there, but there's something about him. I don't know. I haven't seen the new Reverend.
I want to see that so
You know, I've heard it
badly.
was good, and I want to see a good movie, and it doesn't have to be horror film.
Well,
you
I've
know?
heard this is actually too gory for some audiences.
Really? They're pushing that, too, you know?
Yeah, well, gore has become major.
Well, I mean, with the special effects, but what, you know, I don't know. I don't see the attraction to that. I've seen enough real stuff.
Well, that's the thing. You can send me gore. You can gross me out with blood and guts and all that, but that doesn't make it horror. That
No.
doesn't make it scary. That just grosses me out.
Yeah.
And I don't even get that grossed out. So what's the point, really?
It only depends. The point is the fact that they don't really show. They might have a lot of blood and gore, but they don't show you what would really be happening if somebody was torn up like that.
Exactly.
Because
It's
would
so
be
fake.
well, yeah, it would not be any. The audience wouldn't want to watch it. It would be a bad experience.
Exactly.
So then they still haven't pushed that, you know, but.
And I mean, we had movies like Faces of Death and things like that.
Yeah, I've seen those, and I was not.
I wasn't
amused.
impressed by
No.
those, but
Some people just want to see that kind of stuff.
yeah, there's some weird people out there, but
You think? Look at who knows who's watching this show? There might be some strange people out there.
well,
But anyway,
of course.
we've got to get into it. Tonight's
Yes.
terrifying Vincent Price melodrama, rather obscure film, but that's what we're kind of looking for here.
Yeah.
Cry of the Banshee. Interesting period piece. Witches, witchcraft, vengeance, revenge. All those kind of things you expect from a Vincent Price movie, but he's a little more hardcore in this one. So get right into it. Cry of the Banshee on Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theatre. All right, there you go. Once again, killing off the pagans. That's been, you know, they started it all.
They always talk about the Christian prosecution. What about the pagans? Come on, they've been around longer. They've had to face all this
Well,
stuff.
I think a lot of the Christianity came from the pagans.
Exactly. Most of their holidays.
Decorating Christmas trees came from the Vikings, who were pagans.
Christians stole quite a lot of stuff.
What do they got in the Vatican in the basement that they're hiding?
I've heard some really interesting stories.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
Oh.
You know, because, you know, the popes, the modern popes have, like, loosened the noose on some things.
Yeah.
And, you know, how come it was so wrong then and now?
But what are they sharing? Like, they've got to be picking and choosing what they share very carefully.
Well, are they downloading all this information onto computers now? They would have to, wouldn't they? Everything has to.
It's the Vatican, though.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. They probably aren't very tech savvy.
Well, I don't know that that's true because the Pope we have right now, isn't he a scientist?
Yeah, that's true.
And I had an eye-opening experience because while killing Poe, we shot some of the stuff in the library of what they call the Vatican of the Midwest.
Yes.
And somehow I ended up in an aisle of books, and everything from the Quran to Buddhism, all that stuff is being housed in the library, the Catholic library, for one reason or not, to study theology.
Of course.
But they have those books, so God only knows, pun intended, that what they might have in the basement of the Vatican.
Yeah.
Poor pagans.
It's horrible. Come on. What did they ever do to you? They're earth-loving people. Come on.
I don't know. The church tried to get rid of them, though. Again and again and again, they tried to get rid of Halloween and the pagans. They tried to incorporate them. Then they turned on them again, and they just never got rid of it, did it? Never got rid of it because, hey, they stole everything from them in the first place.
Exactly.
That's a good lesson to be learned. If you steal somebody's act, you always have to live in that shadow.
I guess so.
Pagans. I think I'm a pagan, if I was anything.
I'm definitely.
But I don't subscribe to any of that. But I spent a lot of time, of course, in October outdoors, and you kind of and on a farm. I think you have your own level of communication with the earth and the powers that be.
It's kind of why I like paganism. Is it's very it's a very personal experience of how involved you are and what you believe in and everything. It
And
isn't like Christianity where it's you do this and you do this on this day
And that's why, Vincent Price has to cleanse the evil in the world.
yes.
In his Witchfinder General mode here in the 70s were an interesting time.
Yeah.
He might have thought the 60s were already going to be it, but he sure went a long way.
Yeah.
House of Long Shadows. You should show that one. That's a good one. We should show that one.
That would be a really good one to show.
Yeah. It's hard to find a good copy.
Yes.
But that's, of course, got Vincent Price, Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, and then, of course, John Carradine, the man who manages to worm his way into everything. John Carradine. John Carradine, when the villagers bust in on the poor blind man's hut in Bride of Frankenstein, after Frankenstein finally gets a friend with the blind man, who comes in and messes it all up but John Carradine for his quick cameo. That's the monster that's been terrorizing the countryside. This is my friend. Oh, wow. Of course, spoofed wonderfully in Young Frankenstein.
Yes, that was a good scene in Young Frankenstein.
That's very Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
And he wanted to do that, I guess. He wanted to do that part. He heard about it and wanted to do it.
Wow.
What that has to do with tonight's feature, probably nothing. But we have good old medieval Vincent Price getting down on some pagans, and I don't know. He might have left one short. That can come back and haunt you.
Oh, you can't do that.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. That's why the door is closed at the castle now. We used to have a very open door policy. That's not the case anymore.
Yeah, no. You get some weird ones that wander in.
They do, don't they? So they stalk the castle. I remember Candy. She was stalking the castle.
Yeah.
Yep. That was in the early days of Crimson Theatre.
I have to deal with all the fangirls when I come into the castle every time.
All right. Anyway, get right back into it. Cry of the Banshee on Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theatre. When Nick says wrap it up.
I think you're just checking your mic.
There you are, ghoulies, and here we're back once again. And I wouldn't want to be the guy that's put into the wine barrel and put the lid on it. I couldn't do that scene. But Vincent Price was the guy in the he got put into the wine barrel and drowned, of course, in Tower of London with Basil Rathbone.
Yeah.
Very interesting. And another tidbit of information, I guess, that comes from Victoria Price's book is that as a practical joke, they were dumping beer into that barrel and garbage and bodily fluids and, well, maybe not bodily fluids, but it seems like as a practical joke.
That's quite the practical joke.
It could have been one of those, Robert Quarry kind of things where Vincent Price just didn't like the guy.
I would believe that.
Because he didn't like Robert Quarry.
Yeah, he was interesting to work with from what I've heard.
I thought he's an interesting actor.
Well, I mean, Vincent Price is interesting to work with.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
See, they were grooming Quarry to be the new horror guy.
Yeah.
Because of his success with, I want to say Young Guy, but it's what was that one? Something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's how memorable it was. And I guess one time that Robert Quarry was actually singing in front of Vincent Price and said, "You didn't know I could sing, did you?" And Vincent Price replied with, "Well, I knew you weren't a frickin' actor." So,
I mean, I'd have the same attitude, though, if I was Vincent Price and had this new kid coming in that's going to take my spot.
But I did have a priceless, I had a priceless bit of luck. Of course, not getting to see Vincent, my parents not taking me. We've been over that one a few times. And,
that's heartbreaking.
But, this was probably 2011. And Victoria Price was making an appearance at the Genesee Theater in Waukegan.
Oh, wow.
And I happened to see that listed in, I want to say it's something like Shepherd Express up here. And there was a phone number. And I got on the phone and I said, well, I'd love to help you out and promote this appearance. And can I get Victoria on my radio show?
Yeah.
And in fact, I did.
Oh, wow.
And it was, she was a very cool interview. And I can't remember a lot of it. It was kind of short, and it had to be taped, and there was a lot of for that interview, there was a lot of stress behind the scenes to make that work, but we did make it work, and she was just a lovely lady, and Victoria Price. I mean, come on.
Well, yeah.
Speaking to one of the relatives, that was a good experience of the Big Top radio broadcast, which I think I'm going to pitch that one again to Gateway.
Ooh.
Now, I was on Gateway. You can actually access that. They had a, what do they call it? FM HD3 or whatever.
Okay.
Nobody's got those radios, though.
Yeah.
But what was cool is I'd go in and do the show, and they'd archive some of them. I think you can go on their website, and some of the shows are still on there.
Wow.
I think I interviewed Voltaire on that station. Yeah.
Okay, I gotta check that out.
Yeah, I might have that. That one might be up online. I got them all somewhere on a drive. But this time, of course, though, they've got to just put me on the regular FM so people can get the show. Because everybody's like, well, I can't get the show. What's the point? You know? And, of course, the advantage of doing the radio show opposed to television is that I could get all kinds of guests like Tom Laughlin, who was Billy Jack.
Yes.
Doyle from the Misfits.
Oh.
And then Cheetah Chrome from the Dead Boys, who dropped the F-bomb on the air before I could hit the button. That was on when I was on WLIP, though, so we got FCC regulations with that.
Oh, no.
Sylvain from the New York Dolls was on the radio show. Several others, too many mentioned. Plenty of horror hosts. Count Gordeval, that was a good one. Of course, Ivana Cadaver several times.
Yes, of
and
course.
includes Antonia Dorian from Dinosaur Island.
Wow.
We had her on a few times. She's always a lot of fun to talk to. That one just started turning into we're having a conversation. It was really a lot of fun. But I'll have to see if I can. There should be some sort of site that I could download these radio shows on.
Oh, of course.
I have to do that because I have at least a dozen of them, archived. And, of course, Stella Desire, horror hostess. She was on numerous times as well.
Oh, wow.
Just the great thing to do. Radio's a really cool medium.
I've always been interested in it myself.
Well, you'll be on if we could go back on the air. Maybe we got to pitch that.
Definitely.
But they got to put it on like I said, like the regular FM.
Oh, yeah.
Show, and they need something a little bit offbeat like that,
Well, I've noticed
radio.
that the alien and supernatural things are getting really popular again. So.
Well, I was on a show. I was a co-host of the Mothership Connection for 2 years.
I used to listen to that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, did you hear it when I was on there?
Yeah.
Oh, that just pushed me off the edge. Though we got guys calling in. Yeah, there was a thunderstorm, and the blades, the lawnmower blades are spinning around on the ground and all this crazy stuff. We got some real strange ones.
I heard one about some lizard people once.
Yeah, well, that's an ongoing thing. About the reptile people.
Yeah, so.
Reptilians, they call them.
That's some weird stuff.
Who knows who walks among us? But now that we're on that subject, though, one of the most amazing ones, there's what's her name? Gottfredson, and she has written a book about the Beast of Bray Road.
Oh, Linda got.
Yeah, Linda.
Yes,
Linda,
I've met her several times.
Yeah, okay. Well, I was at one of her lectures at the Northside Library in Kenosha, and a man got up and said he saw a werewolf.
I was there.
That's amazing. You must have been pretty young there.
Yes.
Anyway, he got up and told that story. And if you remember, he saw him running across the tracks.
Yeah.
Well, my friend, we all hang out there. That's a big place where we had band shows and everything.
Yeah.
So that was uncanny. Well, then on the radio show, a guy calls in talking about Springbrook Road again. Oh. And I thought, it's this guy. But no, it was a different year and a different story. So that's two different sightings of the Beast of Bray Road.
I've heard
not in Elkhorn, in Kenosha.
I've heard a lot from Kenosha area. I've heard a lot.
Wow, it's a very interesting thing.
It is.
Maybe it's not a werewolf at all. It could be a Bigfoot. Some people say it could be a wild boar. They get pretty crazy and hairy, But it could have been a banshee.
There's a lot of things it could have been, but.
Well, certainly the whole thing with the legend of Elkhorn, with implying werewolf, you're implying man that changes to the wolf. Why wouldn't it just be a beast? A beast. Because nobody would want to dress up in a werewolf costume
and run around.
Well, somebody might shoot you.
Exactly. There was a guy that did that as Bigfoot and got shot.
There you go. It's a hairy situation here on Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater. Get right back into it now. Cry of the Banshee, starring Vincent Price. I believe it's the exciting conclusion. Was that you talking?
Yeah, that was him.
What was he talking about?
I don't know.
Were you talking to us back there?
No.
Oh. You were at that one at the library. That was like 2000. How old were you?
I was really little. I
was there with Amber, was there too.
Yeah, I've been really into that author for a long time, so I've had her sign all my books. I have every book she's written.
Oh, wow. That's
I've gone
crazy.
to a ton of her stuff.
That's crazy, because that was real.
Yeah, that's the thing is I've seen him since I was probably like 5 at the library or at the like grocery store super early in the morning.
Yeah.
I'll see you at the pig super, super early in the morning when I was younger, and I'd be like, that's Dr. Destruction.
Yeah. That is weird.
It is really weird. It's Kenosha, though. It's a small area if you're into that type of stuff.
Right. Oh, yeah. I get called out all the time about it. You know, someone just recognizes me.
Yeah.
They'll be like, oh, and then it's going to be, okay, you're Dr. Destruction, or you're the guy that's got the hearse, or you got the haunted bus, or...
There's one of the haunted houses in Racine that has a hearse sitting out front.
Yeah.
And it's driving me crazy because I want it.
Where, the abandoned?
Yeah, abandoned.
That brass bucket probably don't run.
I know, but I still want it.
Oh, well, I guess that caught up to Vincent Price, huh? Oh, boy, chewing that old bone.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Well, justice is served sometimes, you know.
Well,
You got your beasties.
it's quite the ending.
Yeah, it is quite the ending. Vincent Price going down hard.
Yeah.
Ooh. But it says his final scene ever was in dying in the Tim Burton's Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking scene.
Yeah, it is. It really
is.
But Tim Burton's got an interesting mind anyway. But amazing thing, he you think about it. He worked with Vincent Price at the end of their career.
Yeah.
You know, he got to work with Vincent Price. Or did I say that twice?
You said that twice.
I meant Christopher Lee.
Christopher
Lee,
go.
Vincent Price. I said the Price is right twice. And never mind, Martin Landau's still with us, I think. But
yeah.
You know, another underestimated actor, Martin Landau, another great one. But so he managed to work with a lot of the great ones.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, Christopher Lee, he just 93, wasn't he?
Oh my gosh! Wow.
He made it a long time. He said the longevity, lasted in his family.
Yeah.
And it also was reported that he was a descendant of Vlad the Impaler.
I've heard that. I have heard that.
But they're saying that about Prince Charles, and they said it about Durwood in the Twilight movies, or Edward, or whatever his name is. That he's supposed to be. You know, is this just publicity, or?
That's true. Well, I always hear that my family's related to Charlemagne in some weird way, and it's like, whatever.
Now that's a song, isn't it?
What?
That's a song title that I saw in the Vincent Price movie. That very operatic music. Usually when they show Valnavia, it's a high-flown operatic, and it's like that Star Trek. And I've got the CD of the music from Fibes, and that particular thing is not in there. That piece of music is not in there.
I
and
hate
I love
when
that
they
piece
do
of
that
music.
with albums where they leave out the one good
Well, that
song.
was probably something that they didn't write.
Yes, that's
But
true.
I don't know. I don't understand what's going on there, because I bought that CD from the guy just for that song in particular.
Oh, no.
Valnavia is a great character.
Yes.
The two different Valnavias.
Yeah.
The second one, I guess her and Vinny were having a little fun on the side.
Surprise, surprise.
It's interesting to say the least, but
Yes.
yeah, so the two Valnavias. So I wonder who'll get the part of Valnavia in the new Dr. Fibes. You start auditioning now.
I'd love it. So, if anybody's watching,
Yeah,
I'm interested.
there you are, and they are watching. They're watching, as we learn from the Killing Poe experience.
Yes.
And speaking of the library, because that's where they were watching.
Well, The library is a great place for the people to come together over books.
I know, but the computer room smells like cigarettes and booze nowadays.
That's because everybody goes to the computer room to play their online poker.
Is that what they're doing?
That's exactly what
and
happens.
Then it just slows down. You're trying to do something else.
Slow down.
Kids in there playing video games. Then they took the rack of computers that I like to use and put it on the other side and said it's for the teens. And I use it anyway. I got busted out once, but I'm like, nah.
You just tell me you're a teen at heart. It's fine.
I get harassed in the computer room.
Yeah.
Everybody's asking me questions and whatnot, and I mean, but really, it does smell like beer and cigarettes.
I haven't been in there in a while, so.
No, I got to get a supercomputer. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Supercomputer and a permanent laboratory.
Yes.
Because the laboratory is just too much to drag around from one wing of the castle to the other.
It is. It's impossible. You got to have your permanent laboratory. I'm all for this idea.
Yes, because we've got experiments that need to get underway here.
Yes, I'm excited.
Definitely. We can make our own Kane Hodder sachet spray.
Ooh.
That could be I'm surprised he isn't. If Ari Lehman can sell hot sauce.
Why not?
Why not? Why not? Anyway, April is going to be a big month, right? April is the big Vincent Price month. We're going to celebrate the month of his birthday.
Yes.
And try to bring you some of the Vincent Price films maybe you missed.
Some of the odd ones.
Yeah, there is some odd ones. I remember an old TV special of Vincent Price simply in a chair by himself with maybe a table and no props, a black background, reciting Edgar Allan Poe.
I love that. Yeah.
Who else is better to recite Edgar Allan Poe?
I love listening to him recite Poe. I love it.
I think Rick Plastina could do a good job.
I think he really could. He's an awesome guy. He really is.
He really is. We stay in touch.
He's very friendly. You try to talk to him, and he's very friendly.
You wouldn't know that from Killing Poe, though. But nobody's seen it yet. But boy, does he play.
His character's pretty interesting.
The Rack. Anyway, Ghoulies, you have a horrifying week. We'll see you next time on Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theatre Milwaukee.